everybody, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I'm your host for today, Laura Lalaki, international real estate agent, and we've got a pretty fiery conversation lined up for you. Now, listen, you see that there's two of us here today, but guess what? We are coming back right after the holiday, and a lot of our queens and our king are traveling. So you get two of us this week. So this conversation is going to be very interesting because I think, honestly, we got a lot to say. But recently, EGOT winner Whoopi Goldberg shared some controversial views on The View, claiming that millennials aren't having kids or reaching life milestones because of rising costs, social justice concerns, or environmental issues, but because of their supposed lack of work ethic. She said, if you don't want to work 4 hours, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house. But is this really about laziness, or are the younger generation grappling with challenges that older generations, such as me, I'm 54, never had to face, right? From skyrocketing housing prices to stagnant wages and the rising cost of living. Is Whoopi out of touch, or does she just have a point? So today we're going to break it all down for you, and the realities of generational wealth, the shifting priorities of millennials and Gen Z, and what it really means to build a life in today's world. Joining me today is my co-queen, Marlo Layson. Hi, Marlo.
Hello, Lala.
Did you
Hello.
have a wonderful Thanksgiving?
I actually did. I did. I enjoyed my time off and ready to get back into it.
Right. It's kind of hard when you wobble till you gobble and you got to come back.
Yes, wobble till you gobble. I love it.
So, just what we talked about and what Whoopi said, can you please tell me if you agree with her or not? Just a quick yes or no.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You think
I,
so?
I,
Okay.
I think
I'm
she's on
on the
point.
fence.
I think she definitely has a point. Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I think there is a lot of the times yes, and then some situations you'll just have to see no. But I want to bring up the video where she is talking about this. So let's watch this, and then we'll come back in with our conversation. But everyone, do you agree? Like before we go to the video, our viewership family, I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree that she thinks they're just lazy? We'll be right back after watching the video.
Apparently, millennials and Gen Z have a much different view of the American dream than past generations. Data shows that soaring inflation, student debt, and limited room for advancement in the workplace has made them feel that milestones like affording a home, starting a family, excelling within the corporate structure are out of reach. Does every generation feel this way at some point? I say yes. Every generation comes and wants to do better than their parents did. Every generation. But I'm sorry, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house.
Oh, and don't mention 4 days. No, but
I feel for everybody that feels this, but I'm sorry. We busted our behinds. We had to bust our behinds because we didn't have the option
y'all gave
of
us
going
the housing
back.
crisis, though. But
Listen, we had all kinds of stuff.
no,
coming.
it's true. But the one thing I'd say is millennials are statistically the first generation that's likely to do worse off than their parents. That's
You know what? That's what they said to us as well. Every generation is told you're going to do worse than your parents. And you know what? People pick it up and they do what they do and they raise themselves. And this is what you got to do. It's called being a good citizen.
A good citizen, or are they thinking that they can kind of get rich quick off of certain things? So here's a couple of comments from you who are watching and joining us today. We appreciate you. Brittany Mosley says, Whoopi lied on that. Deborah Lewin said some children have the hustle spirit and some of them don't. And parenting plays a big part. And then, of course, our standard Big Mac, he says, she's right. They are lazy and uninformed. So now I'm actually going to ask you, Marlo, you said you agree with her on that. And I really would love to hear why you feel that she is right.
Well, I mean, I think I didn't hear her say lazy, right? So that's the headline. That's what the clickbait is. But I think I work with younger people. I work with people who are in their 20s. I have children that are in their 20s, and it's just different. But it's like Deborah said, parenting style plays a big part of it. if you rejected hustle culture, right? If you felt like it left you burnt out, if you felt like you really didn't get anything out of life of quality, then of course you're not going to put that onto your kids. You're going to try to steer them in a different direction. So I think it really depends on your experience, how you perceive the hustle culture. Because if you came up through the 80s and the 90s, you definitely, hustle was life, right? Hustle was life in terms of getting what you want, achieving what you want. And so I think that while the clickbait is fun, saying lazy, this generation that has the instantaneousness of Amazon and the internet, right? Some people can order something today and get it today, depending on where you live. So there's this instant gratification expectation that many of them have. And so I think that they think, look, if I could spend 4 hours at work and then have the rest of my leisure time to snap pictures and go to brunch and do all the other things that they like to do, then that's how they want to live their lives. But I think every generation, like Whoopi says, has been told they're going to do worse. My mom used to love to talk about how much bread costs. A loaf of bread was a quarter. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that stuff doesn't change from generation to generation. I think what has maybe slowed them down in reality more than theory is the internet and the idea of anybody can be a star. And I think that's what a lot of young people are aiming for.
And that's where I differ with her, because I do believe that this generation has this social media thing that people can be influencers and people are making money. And then you see people like Mr. Beast, and you see all of these only fan pages, and you see the things that you could do to not have to work a 9 to 5 to be under a boss. And I think a lot of them fall for that. And the reason I say that is because I used to be the community manager for a live streaming service that is huge in Asia. I mean, big, huge. And people are making good money over there. So they tried to tap into the American market. And it was a totally different thing. It just never got off the wall because American kids were so much different than the Asian kids. Like the Asian kids would come on and have a whole show, game shows, give away prize, blah, blah, blah. And the girls and stuff over in America wanted to shake it till you make it, right? So they thought that was how they were going to build their money. However, then I seen a couple of them who had never done it before and used me as a reference because I was big on Periscope. What did you do, Lala? They call me Mama Lala. Mama Lala, what did you do? And I would guide them, and they would do these things and then become successful. But that's slim pickings because now it's not as easy. And I think that's a problem with what the younger see. But I don't think it's a lack of work ethic. I think that sometimes it's limited. But Deborah says also the older generations are working longer and taking away them part-time jobs from the younger generation. I don't know, Marlo, do you think that has something to do with it too?
I think we definitely have a strange job market because we got automation, right? So that's killed a lot of jobs. Even if you go to fast food, there's a lot of automation there. So there's fewer workers. So there is more competition for what people are going to do. But I think it also just really has a lot to do with instant gratification. And people see how hard their parents work. People see their parents working 2 jobs. And that's not a life that many of them want, right? I'm lucky for me, my kids are not couch surfers. They out here, they getting it, but they complain about hustle culture a lot and they wish that they were not participants in it, right?
Right.
It just depends on who the young person is. But I just want to say this about Whoopi. She works with young people as an actress. I think that that's what people are missing, right? Whoopi Goldberg is not coming from a place of some person that's sitting on high and all she does is the view. Whoopi does Broadway. Whoopi works overseas on projects. Whoopi works here on projects. She works with young people. So she's making an observation based off of what she sees, y'all. She's not just deciding that young people don't want to work. She's working with young people that are not wanting to be on set 12, 14, 16 hours like when she was an up and coming actress. And so that is just really an observation about the differences in generation. And I wish people didn't get so butthurt about what she said because there definitely is some validity to it.
I think you're right, and that's the thing. It also has a lot to do with your parents. I mean, I saw my mother bust her butt cleaning houses 5 days a week. Okay, on the days that I didn't have school, I was there doing it with her. Okay, it wasn't a stay at home thing. It was what you had to do. My son had chores. My son had jobs in his house, so he's been working since he was 14 and officially 14, and then his first job was like at Six Flags, so he has that work ethic. But I have to admit, Marlo, I don't really blame them, because honestly I have done the 12 to 18-hour days, and especially in real estate, and that's not a quality of life to me. You can't really enjoy life when you're so busy trying to make that cash, until you actually turn around and go, what is all this for? Because when you really start turning around and you look at the things that you have, you're like, why did I even really need that? Because, I see people all the time moving, right, Marlo? And they're always like, how did I accumulate all this stuff? It's like, oh, what is the purpose? Trying to keep up with the Joneses? Or now I find it way more important for me to go and have coffee with someone and spending quality time, instead of going off and buying gifts and all this stuff. I don't need that anymore. Do you find that in your life?
Absolutely. And I think that, in TV, having worked in TV and doing sports, especially, sports never stops, right? If it's not football season, it's baseball season, it's basketball season, it's preseason, right? I was on a hamster wheel for many, many years, watching my kids grow up and not really participating, right? And I think that quality of life has to be part of the equation when we talk about this. And maybe that's the part that's missing, right? Maybe these young people are choosing quality of life, and they are choosing to sit back and prioritize what's important and work according to what's important. And you definitely can't be mad at them about that.
No, because are they also on the receiving end of us not being home 12 to 18 hours? And now all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, my mom, my dad, I see them work or day. I don't get much quality time with them. So I think it goes in the stair steps. Whatever we go through, the next generation's like, I'm not doing that. And sometimes it's a round robin and it comes back. But we are definitely not ending this conversation, because it is a lot to unpack. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens. That's Queens. That's Queens to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Yes, we gave you homework again. It's really easy. Yes. Text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. Now, you're going to sing that again. The old school jingles, 87948. Go ahead and text that over there, right? Listen, pull up a couple of graphics, because I think it's really important for us to kind of tap into some statistics that we know. And let's dive right back into this, because it is a different time. There are rising costs. A 2022 Harris poll revealed that 54% of Gen Z adults, which is 18 to 25, still live with their parents due to the cost of living. I'm a witness to that. I see that all the time. Financial independence, only 28% of Gen Z report being able to pay all of their bills on time. Then there's economic pressures. A Bankrate survey shows 60% of millennials delay major life milestones like marriage, children, or buying a home due to financial constraints. These numbers are crazy. Like, I can see this because I see it with kids and trying to get on their own now and struggling. Millennial home ownership. According to the Urban Institute, home ownership among millennials is 8% lower than the baby boomers at the same time due to higher home prices and student loan debt. I have to say, I see this all the time. I see children staying home a lot longer because the rents, and I'm talking LA here, like a 1-bedroom studio apartment gonna run you about $2,000, and that's in a not so nice neighborhood. If you want them to live in places like Glendale or Studio City, we ain't even talk about Beverly Hills, okay? You are looking at $2,500 a month. So I do see a lot of people struggling, but I also think that has a lot to do with our economy. So Marlo, how much do the rising costs of housing, education, and healthcare factors, how did this factor into the decisions of the millennials?
Oh, it's a huge factor, but also the rate of pay is a huge factor, right? Because that's what's not tracking is the rate of pay. Yeah, Supreme 100. Some of them are making 10K a month on streaming, but far more of them are not making 10K a month on streaming. And that's the reality. The number of people that are really making money on streaming platforms that can sustain the lifestyle that many people are pretending to have on social platforms is not in alignment at all. But I think that one thing we don't talk about are wages, right? Wages have been stagnant. We have a Congress that doesn't want to tackle the minimum wage at all. We have business that pushes back on saying, oh, if the minimum wage goes up, then all this other stuff is also affected by it. So I think wage, this is a country that was built on hundreds of years of free labor, right? So one thing America does not want to do is increase the wage that laborers and workers are paid in this country. So I think it's a lot of different factors, but I think it's also millennials that look back at their parents and say they struggle to keep that house, right? They struggle to maintain this lifestyle, right? My parents struggled to give me the things that I needed. Why would I want to have a child? Like when I have younger people on my team, and when I talk to them about having kids, they always cite their parents and their childhood and their upbringing and them wanting to either have freedom to not be having kids or them wanting to be in a better position so that when they have kids, they could take more time with them and their kids could feel more inclusive because hustle culture parents were out hustling, making money for that big Disney World or whatever was going on or maintaining lifestyle. So I think it's many-fold. I don't think we should be blaming people across generations for different things because every generation is the same. When I was younger, these were the same conversations as I was going into college. Will you guys be able to pay rent? But I remember rent was $200, $300, $400. So it was a much different world when I was starting. But when my mom was starting out, rent was $25, $75. So it's always going to be different. And I think we all got to have a little grace and a little kindness and love because your struggle is not my struggle, but don't say I didn't struggle because you don't know.
I think the problem is a lot of times we also had mentors, like I'd like to hear what some of our audience is saying. Did you have mentors when you were coming up in your household? Did you have chores? Were you expected to work, not necessarily to bring in money to the household for you, but expected to work to do little things like if you wanted to go to the movies or things of that nature? Like I never dreamed of asking my mom. Like she would give me a little allowance, but and I was always great for that. But it was because I did my chores. I was supposed to do those things, but I never expected it to her. If she didn't have it that week, she didn't have it that week. And so we just chugged along and had fun. There were many days I would go out just with friends and we'd just go to the park and hang out. I didn't have to spend anything. But what is bothering me is that we don't take the time to actually even talk to the next generation anymore. It seems like we just want to blame. Like, like the old grandma used to go and talk to grandma on Thanksgiving and she'd tell you all sorts of things that you needed to hear. And sometimes it wasn't always what you thought was here, or it sounded old fashioned because the first thing she would always say to me is, do you have a beau yet? I'm like, Grandma, I'm 14, but she got married at 14. See, there's different levels She worked, she raised her 9 children with her. So there's a lot of factors here that we just cannot blame
Yeah.
the next generation on. So, but I'm going to ask this question to you because, and I want to hear what you have to say as well. Do you think that the traditional American dream is still achievable for this generation, or has it become an outdated concept?
I don't know that they want it. I don't know that they want the traditional American dream. I think I've listened to a lot of podcasts that are hosted by millennials and young people, and a lot of them are cool with renting because they don't have to have the burden of repairs, right? And I'm talking about the podcasters that are making the money. I'm talking
Yeah.
about people who work in the tech sector and things like that, as they're talking about why they choose to rent over purchasing, talking about over time, having assets. So I think that the conversations are so much different, right? We had access to mentors if you were lucky to have somebody reach out to you, to talk to you. But now, if you don't have that, you don't even need to seek it out amongst your circle because, again, they have the power of the internet. So anybody can be their mentor. They can learn a new way of life. They can be exposed to different things. So I think that some of this is just time passing, and we are witnessing a new generation unfold. Obviously, people gonna be lazy. People been lazy, gonna be lazy, and we ain't even met lazy people. Some of them haven't even been born yet, right? So people are going to be not wanting to do anything and maximize their return on nothing, right? But I
Right.
think that other people are just being creative. I think we're watching the evolution of a generation. I think that we're watching new industries be born that we didn't even anticipate, and a lot of that is unfolding, and we can't see it in real time, but I think we'll look back and we'll see them differently, and we'll probably have a lot more respect for people that are saying, you know what, you can't have 85% of my life job. I'm going to
Right.
live my life, and I'm going to give you in relation to what you give me. And I think that we worked ourselves to death, no matter the money, because we were looking at it from, if you work hard, you'll be rewarded. They didn't always see that. They didn't always see their parents reaping those rewards. And so here we are, and they swinging the pendulum again and trying a new thing. And I think that part of that is what we are witnessing now.
I agree. My son worked hard. At the age of 17, he was working hard and he was constantly working, and he kind of saw that from me. But I here recently have actually told him, I was like, babe, life is not all about work. I mean, I didn't really come to that and start backing down off of these 12 and 18-hour days being on the LA streets, showing these houses in the dark with a flashlight, baby, on the days that were daylight saving times. And it took a tragedy for me to sit back and say, what am I doing this for? Like, I don't really need a Maserati, not that I cared about that, but I'm going to tell you right now, my vision board, I pulled out an old vision board of mine from when I was 30. And when I looked at it now, I was like, oh, I don't need none of that.
30-year-old Lala.
No, I was like 30-year-old Lala was crazy. I don't need that. I had money on there. I had cars on there. I had a big old house on there. Right now, this is what's on my picture of me going home because I like the balance. I want to enjoy life.
Yes.
Man, I need that. But we're still going to continue this conversation. We hope that you're enjoying it. And I would like to hear, before we go to break, what was your first job and how old were you? So go ahead and put that in our chat so that we can call that up. We'll be right back.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Get your money right. Money right. FlyNubianMoney.com. Listen, guys, it is toward the end of the year, right? And most people like to wait to the beginning of the year to do resolutions or pick their words or whatever. But why wait? Why wait? If something is bothering you financially and you want to do better financially, why not start now? go ahead and go to flynubianmoney.com, because we have a lot of resources there for you, and you can get started now. So you can have the tools to start studying those things before January 1st, 2025. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you what my first job was, Marlo. I was 13 years old and I worked at a nursing home. And it was the nursing home in our neighborhood. And I would go back there and I would go into the rooms and sing to the patients. That was my first job. What was your first job?
My first job was volunteering. I had to volunteer at a daycare center that was in the neighborhood. My aunt was on the board at this. It was like a youth center. And she made me volunteer. So my first summer I volunteered. My second summer I actually worked with special needs children. So my first job was built on empathy. I was a camp counselor. I taught arts and crafts and dance to special needs kids who range from the age of 6 to 18 or 19. That was
I love that.
15,
I love that.
14-year-old summer job. 15, something like that.
But see, you did something kind of artsy too, which is kind of cool, right? I love that. So Armando says he was 16. He was at Lee's Famous Chicken, and that was his first job. Then Terrellyn says Church's Fried Chicken was my first job. We got a lot of chicken here.
You must be in my family.
He also used to like rake leaves and pick pecans, when he was younger and things of that nature. So, his first job was cleaning ditches.
Big Mac was work.
Man, them was some hard works, okay? Like cleaning ditches is not something that is easy. It is not. So, Marlo, you brought something up that I think that is very important. I don't think that people took, people put clickbait and stuff up all the time. And I know a lot of people are kind of bashing Whoopi, but you brought something up that I think is extremely important that we've really got to touch on. And should we be holding employers more accountable for their stagnant wages and lack of the upward mobility and helping people get to the upper hand? Or, what do we do about that? I mean, corporations going to be corporations, but should we hold them accountable?
I mean, I think that we're beyond the point of holding them accountable. I think that as many companies over the next decade that can automate, they're going to, right? Anybody that can bring a machine in to do the job that 5 humans used to do, they're going with the move. Like, we don't need to be, fooling ourselves into thinking that somehow capitalists are going to decide, yeah, you need to have a better life. So here's some more money. A few will, right? We have a few companies where they've switched their model, where the CEO makes less money and the people make more money in stock options, and they find productivity is higher and better, and which we all know what happen if you treat people well on a job, they'll work harder for you. But I don't think by and large, like Walmart is not about to do more to help with upward mobility, especially abandoning DEI. They certainly aren't about to increase wages substantially. So I think that we're just in a place where the kids know it, right? When I was young, I didn't know that teachers didn't make a lot of money.
Right.
My daughter is hyper aware that her teachers don't make a lot of money. And so she doesn't want to teach, right? She does not see the value in teaching. So I don't know that that's ever something that I'll be able to convince her is a good track. But they're just looking at the world, and the things that were hidden away from us are not necessarily hidden away from them, whether it's good or bad. And they're able and choosing to make decisions that they feel are in their best interest. And so, like I said before, I can't be mad at it. But as somebody who works with people in their 20s, mid to late 20s, early 30s, I do see a difference in the work ethic. I don't see the grind. I don't see the desire to be the best, right? They just showing up. They're like, I showed up. And that's 90% for them.
Right.
You were like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do this job. I'm going to learn. I'm going to elevate. They're not on that. Like, no. They are not on that, to the point I saw a meme and they were like, oh, I suggested something that I read in a book and now they're giving me more responsibilities, like warning their friends, like, to not go out and get yourself more responsibility by being somebody who's innovative and thinking and processing. So I don't know. These kids probably got something figured out that we don't know. They probably tapped into the matrix and we just can't see it right now.
Well, you know, I've seen both sides of that. And I like, especially in LA, like I have this young couple. I was so tickled to help them. They were buying a house. They weren't quite married yet. They were high school sweethearts. They had been dating since they were 14 years old. They had just turned 20, getting ready to turn 21. They were buying a home. They have pulled their money from summer jobs and everything like that in college. And they said, we want to buy a house. But guess what? It wasn't for them. They said, if we can find a duplex, we'll live in the smaller one and then we'll rent out the big one. Don't you know that they're on property number 5 with me right now?
I love that. I love that. I'm telling you, their access to information, we cannot see it because the history is happening now. But when we look back on this generation, I don't know what they're going to do because they have access to everything. There were no property wars. There were no love it or list it. There was none of this. These kids have had these hopes and dreams and potential for jobs that don't involve sitting behind desks and swiping a card to punch in and out. They are not on that. They are really on something else. And stories like that make me really appreciate it. My son at probably high school realized he was really good at math and started investing his money in the stock market and just slowly investing money, like not doing anything crazy, just putting a little money over there and watching it grow, reading, learning something, watching it grow. And this kid who really only had an interest in cooking and video games had taught himself this whole thing that I thought was just so super complicated through Twitter, through Reddit, through all of these channels where they're constantly communicating with each other. And unlike us, they don't always feel like information has a dollar amount attached to it. So they just giving game and they're like, you do with it what you want, but here it is. This is the blueprint. This is how you get started. This is where you need to go. Download this, follow this person. He gives tips on Tuesdays. Just like it's a whole ecosystem that I think, because our mindset is so different in the way that we were raised, it's kind of hard for us to see it, but it definitely is a double-edged sword because they are also, some of them are lazy.
Yeah, true. And I don't know if they still have this or not, because like I said, my child is 38, he's going to be 39. So when I came up, I had my son early, and in high school, there was work study. I had done all of my credits, and they would let me just come to school for 3 hours in the morning in my senior year. And then I would go to work, and they helped me find that job. So my job, my next job was like I worked at a flower shop at that. But, you know, I had that also. And it was a pretty much a full-time job, to be honest. I only went to school 3 hours a day. So let's talk about this employment again. I want to pull back up the slide that we had about wage stagnation. Research by the Pew Research Center found that wages for young workers have only grown by 6% in the past 40 years, despite rising costs. Marlo, that's crazy. Like in our lifetime.
That is crazy. So the same money that people were doing, you know, the entry-level jobs, right? The Gap, McDonald's, the grocery store, that has only grown 6%. Like, 6%. Of course, these kids are not running out here. If they know, they've watched Jake Paul grow an empire. They've watched Kai Cenat grow an empire, doing what they want to do, doing what they enjoy doing, committing hijinks and acting silly and dancing and whatever else. They're like, wait, I can get paid to live my life? These kids are really moving in different directions. They also are learning the things that we rejected, things like sewing and growing things and woodworking and doing things with your hands, right? Because we went through a whole corporate shift in our generation. We all wanted to be suited up, going to work in high heels, hurt your feet, and go to get the office job, be in the cubicle. We were all striving for crazy stuff. And these kids are really looking at freedom and independence and trying to figure out how, if they want to go to Mexico, they're going to go to Mexico because they're not going to be bound by this job that's only paying them $8.75 an hour.
But you hit something really important, Marlo, because this is what I see by me traveling so much between Portugal and America. I meet a lot of digital creators, and they take their skills on the road, baby. They will stay at a hostel and they will jump country to country. Met a gentleman, he was 24 just a couple of weeks ago. He had just come back from Budapest, and then he also was in the Easter Islands, and he's an admin for a pretty big company, but they allow him to go wherever he needs to go as long as he gets his hours on their clock. They don't care where he is. And that's a growing number thing. Now, is it easy? No, it's not easy. You do have to have your skills, and you have to have them very well. But why not enjoy life and travel the world while you're also working for that corporation on your own terms?
But will they allow it though? That's the question with corporations, right? Because they had an opportunity to kind of shift after the pandemic.
Yes.
But the problem is all the real estate, right? What are we going to do with this multi-million-dollar business that we sent out 500 press releases to get media coverage so people could come and see how big our building is, right?
Yeah.
So that people could come and see how lovely our lobby is with these floor to ceiling glass windows and all the other BS that goes along with it. So what were they going to do with those buildings? And so then work from home, work at your leisure became a problem. But most companies that have extended work from home and have either adopted a hybrid model or people completely work from home, they actually report higher productivity than companies that force people to come back into the office. But I got an office, so you got to come here. I got to pay insurance. I got to pay utilities. Like I got to pay for all of this stuff. So you got to be here, right? So that it makes sense, because an empty office building makes absolutely no sense.
No sense.
And so I think that corporations they're behind, right? And I don't know what that's going to mean for the work landscape as these young people really step into their own. But I think that corporations that are not going to adopt some type of better work-life balance that incorporates a hybrid work at home, work from the office model, they're going to lose. Or maybe they want to go to automation. I don't know, but it definitely is. The kids see a new way. The young people are definitely seeing a different way forward than we did.
I'm not mad at them, because if you can travel the world while you're young, why not do it? I mean, and if the company allows you to, yes, then you have some that want the bosses to be over your shoulder 24/7, so you can't do that. But we're going to look at Jeff Bezos. He is a very interesting creature to me. He says that Gen Z's obsession with work-life balance is debilitating. I always get the row wrong. I don't know if I agree with that, Marlo. I don't even know how to say that word. A Deloitte survey found that 49% of millennials and Gen Z prioritize work-life balance over higher salaries or promotions. And we have said that. We definitely have said that. I experienced that in my life. To me, it's more important for me to spend more time with my husband and my family more than anything. And now for the holidays, baby, my place is the place to be.
Look for me.
Right. But look, I want to hear about what our viewers are. If you could travel the world, if your job would allow you to do that, or you could be a contractor where you could go anywhere in the world and still earn the quality of life money that you want, would you do it? And if you could, what would it be that you would travel with? And we're going to be right back after this commercial.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
More homework, but it's fun homework. So like if you can't catch us live, you definitely can catch us on Spotify. But listen, I always say if you can't catch us live, if you've missed any of our shows, you can go back and watch any of them on Spotify. Okay, so go ahead, go over there, look for Fly Nubian Money, then subscribe to us, and then do us a big favor because it's going to help other people find us. Give us a 5-star rating and talk us up because you know what? We talk to you, you talk to us, we love you, you love us. You know, it's just a thing. So go on over there and click that and do that. But listen, we also love to hear what you have to say. So if you want to join us, all you have to do is send us an email and let us know at info@realvirtual.net. I'm going to spell that so that you know where to send it to and it won't bounce. info@realvirtual.net. Now, listen, I want to pick up on some of these conversations, are the comments that I had asked before we went. So C. White said, that's right. See the world while you can, right? Then we have Dr. Vibe who joined us. Hi, Dr. Vibe. He's up in Canada. So, you know, we can come visit you, Dr. Vibe, up in Canada. Then Big Mac thinks the work week should be 4 days. And there are many, many countries that honor that. They do a 4-day week work. And Big Mac said he's been there and done that. And it's awesome. So that means he's traveled. And Deborah said, yes, I would love to travel for work as an international event planner. Baby, there is a market for you. Market for you. You better do that.
2025.
Right? You better get out here and get your money. I love it. So listen, I don't agree with Jeff Bezos, but then again, you know, all these billionaires I really don't agree with lately anyway. But do you feel that millennials and Gen Z should be applauded for wanting a better work-life balance or criticized for it? Because he obviously is criticizing us.
Well, of course he's criticizing, right? Because it means that he doesn't have access to them like he wants to have access to them. In France, there's a law where after hours, you can't be contacted by the job, you know, like after hours. You're not obligated to return a text message or an email or a phone call once you're officially off the clock, right? They had to make it a law in France because I guess businesses were encroaching so much, right? And American CEOs were like, oh, none of this for me, please. If I want you, I want you. And if you don't answer, some people, especially with their higher up management and staff, if you don't answer, those people will get you up out of there, right? Because they feel like for the money I'm paying you, I need 100% access to you, right? If I'm saying that the such and such launch needs to happen at this time, but midway in, I cut it, you know, like whatever the deal is, he wants access to workers, right? He wants to be able to dictate what your life is. And the people that are taking the reins are taking that control back from him. Because like I said, this is a country that for hundreds of years was sustained on free labor. And you can't forget that that is the beginning of American capitalism. So people had to fight for labor rights. People had to fight for vacation time. Women had to fight for maternity leave. We had to fight for family medical leave, right? To be able to take off, to take care of a sick loved one or to take care of yourself and have that work protected, right? You don't lose your job because you got to have cancer treatment. And I think that this is just the evolution of that, is wanting to have access to people all the time. And so I do not agree with you, Jeff Bezos. Work-life balance is important. So many people have died and their families haven't known that they love them or that they care. They just have things, right? And they don't have many fond memories of the person. And, I appreciate people that are trying to get back to that, because at the end of the day, that's what's important. That is important.
I want to feel that hug when I think about that person. To me, that's just more important to me than the scramble of, because I've done it. I've done both. And it's now time that I'm like, it's just not important to me. But, let's watch the video again of Whoopi and let's see if we can get something different out of it this time, because we talk about what she said, but then there is another one of her co-stars who's trying to justify some things. And let's see what they've got to say, and we'll be right back.
Apparently, millennials and Gen Z have a much different view of the American dream than past generations. Data shows that soaring inflation, student debt, and limited room for advancement in the workplace has made them feel that milestones like affording a home, starting a family, excelling within the corporate structure are out of reach. Does every generation feel this way at some point? I say yes. Every generation comes and wants to do better than their parents did. Every generation. But I'm sorry, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be harder for you to get a house.
Oh, and don't mention 4 days.
No, but I feel for everybody that feels this, but I'm sorry. We busted our behinds. We had to bust our behinds because we didn't have the option of going back.
Y'all gave us the housing crisis, though.
Listen, we had all kinds of stuff.
No, it's true. But the one thing I'd say is millennials are statistically the first generation that's likely to do worse off than their parents.
You know what? That's what they said to us as well. Every generation is told you're going to do worse than your parents. And you know what? People pick it up and they do what they do and they raise themselves. And this is what you got to do. It's called being a good citizen.
All right, well, you can see that her co-host is trying to justify some of the things, and we have talked about some of that. So Marlo, do you think the older generation just misunderstands the challenges faced by today's youth, or are they unwilling to adapt to change?
Well, I think multiple things can be true, right? I think that they don't really understand. I don't think that, Whoopi knows what she knows, right? Whoopi Goldberg was not the face, right? She was not what anybody said was a beautiful woman on the Black spectrum or the mainstream white spectrum, right? She was a female comedian in a time when men, comedy is the last bastion of like male dominated entertainment, right? So she was a female comic that broke through on her own merit, right? Because she wasn't pretty, traditionally in speaking, right? Nobody could say Whoopi did this, that, and the third. All Whoopi did was talent, right? We know Whoopi can sing, Whoopi can dance. She's an EGOT. She has a trophy in all of the categories. So she, again, I'm saying, is speaking from experience as somebody who has worked with every actor. Every young actor has gone on The View and praised Whoopi for sharing, for helping, for whatever, like sharing your talent, for, guiding me, for staying in touch, whatever the case may be. So I don't think she's coming from an ugly place. I think she's looking at it from her perspective. And from her perspective, you had to go get it. I know that they see the internet as, an easy route, right? That's free promotion. So now you don't have to get in a van and ride to cross country, right? Where you at? You in New York, you got to ride to Philly, you got to ride to Baltimore. You don't have to do that anymore. You could put a camera up in your living room, banjo, sing your song, and hopefully that message at some point will touch the right ears and your life could be changed. That was not her walk. So she's really just making a comment about the way that the walk is different and them trying to say, like, it wasn't easy growing up in the 80s. The stock market did a thing during the 80s. There was crack during the 80s. So if you was Black, you was really under some kind of fire. Every generation got shit. And that's what she's saying. The people that do best out of every generation are the people that pull themselves up and do what they got to do to get it. I don't think she's a smug billionaire.
There you go. I was going to say, no.
I don't think she's a smug billionaire. I think that she is somebody that got it out the mud, and she is watching people who don't have talent get access to platforms because of the internet. And so I think that because she ain't got time, Whoopi is 69 years old. Your aunties and uncles that's of a certain age, they ain't got time to be with nuance. So she not using nuance. She just saying it's different. And those that want it, get it from the beginning of time. That's been the mantra. If you want it, go get it. Whether you build something or you take things from people, however you choose to get it is on you. But if you want it, you must go get it. And I think that that's the commentary that she's making. But this society loves man versus women. We love old versus young. We love boy versus girl. We love gay versus straight. We love verses, honey. We want
verses. It's the verses. It don't matter what you are. It's the verses. But I want to make it very plain, right? Let's make it very plain. You said that, we mentioned that she's an EGOT, but what does that mean? It means she has an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. You can never take that away from her. And whether you like Whoopi or not, you cannot deny that she pushed through and her talent shines. It just shines. She is one of the people that people stand back and look at her and they want that part of life. That's quite an accomplishment. Or maybe this younger generation doesn't. I don't know, but I do know enough of people in the arts who still admire that. I mean, I have a ton of friends in music and things of that nature. And I can tell you it is a little bit harder to break into anything right now because of AI and everything else. But I am not bashing that. Do I still love me a good jazz band that's playing real instruments? I'm going to take that every time. Okay.
Coming to the live show. I'm going to be at the live show.
Be at the live show and then tell me something. But then I also think there is also a place for the new technology. We grew up with new technology. I told you I got if y'all watch the show, what was our first job? I was a word processing degree. Okay. And the minute I graduated, that was out the window. I had to learn how to do design work. And I did a 4-color magazine right after that. So that things change in every generation. But we have another commercial for you. And when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. We're claiming it. 2025 is your year for home ownership, and we are going to get you to that goal. Who's we? Fly Nubian Money Club and me, Laura Lalaki, international real estate agent. And we have a wonderful session for you about how to get you started on the path to home ownership. We'll cover the steps. We'll answer a lot of the questions that most people have, because when you are educated about this process, it makes it more fun and a little easier than if you step into it without knowing anything. I can't wait to spend some time with you to get your juices flowing and to get the excitement flowing, because 2025 is your year. Make sure that you come to this class and you invite someone else, because it really is important to own your own piece of land. I look forward to seeing you. Bye. December 7th, guys, that's just this weekend. I am so excited. I'm like, God, I get jibbity Jews when I see all that, because I love to be able to help. And there's one of the few things that I absolutely love in my business is to be able to teach. And you get to spend some time with me this Saturday. So make sure that you sign up at flynubianmoneyclub.com. We are doing something big to definitely help you get on the right path. And part of wealth building is part of real estate. So we're talking about this generation. Some of them want it, some of them don't. I've seen 20-year-olds buy 4 and 5 houses, okay? And then I've seen some that are like, I don't want that. I want to travel the world. I think it's all a personal preference. But if you don't even know that there's a path to get to what you want, then, you're losing out. So you definitely want to make sure that you sign up for flynubianmoneyclub.com. This Saturday is the class. Super, super duper excited. Do it now. So Marlo, I want to talk about your kids, because I have a 37-year-old. I've seen him bust his butt. I also now see him sitting back now and enjoying life a little bit more, because he realizes that, quality of life to him is a little better, but he's still a very successful businessman. What about your children? How do you see them and walking their path?
Well, I think that my son, like I said, he's a chef. He works. He is doing his thing, right? And he's decided what's best for him. He was very conscious of doing what worked for him. When he wasn't feeling college, he was like, you know what? I'm not going to keep going, because I don't want to be riddled with debt for something that I hate. when he, like always just doing what's best for him, because that's what I taught him. My daughter is married. She's 20. She just made 23. And she's actually married. She's got young children. And her husband are so much better than me and her dad were in terms of money, in terms of talking about the type of life that they want to live, the type of home that they want to raise their children in, understanding that things aren't automatic. We thought things were automatic because nobody was really talking to us unless you had somebody to pull you to the side and give you the right information. But from my teaching, from our teaching, through my ex and I, and they decided what it was good and they kept it. They decided what was bad and they threw that away. And they're moving forward, building their family every day. My daughter is an esthetician, so she's working to build that business. He does catering. He's also a chef, so he's working to try and build something for himself and for their children. And I just appreciate watching it, but they also prioritize family. And I absolutely love that. And I think, again, it's because of the beauty of the internet. That's not something that I could say I taught them. That's not something that I could say I showed them, because we were hustling and working, or maybe we were fussing. So
that's a part of every family.
So I wasn't really showing them these kind of button up pajama Christmas things. And, we were grinding and getting it and then going our separate ways and doing our thing. So I think that, thank God for the internet. It's the gift and the curse. And young people can really mold a life for themselves, as long as they don't become delusional, right? They can mold the life that they want for themselves, especially if they have the foundation of hard work, especially if they have the foundation of doing right by other people, right? Those foundational things. My daughter always complains because she can't scam. She's like, I wish I could scam, but you raised me with morals, so she can't scam. But I can't scam because I was raised with morals, right? So we're going to keep passing down the good stuff and letting everybody kind of adjust life to the best life for them, right? The best, not the best life for me, because I'm going to live my own best life, but what is the best life for them? And that's what we on every day, every single day. And my 14-year-old just want to spend my money on DoorDash.
Right. Yeah, I think you're completely right. I think that we as a whole society, we worry so much about what other people are doing in their lives. And your path is not always somebody else's path. It just isn't. Like me, for me, I watched my mother slave over cleaning people's houses and hosting fancy dinners and blah, blah, blah. And to me, I was like, nope, that's not for me. And I wanted to make it better for her when I got older too. And like you, I can't do anything that's illegal. Nope, no scamming, no illegal. That is not me. I can't do it. My little heart won't be able to take it. But, I think what we need to do is just like we always say on every show, Marlo, we don't just say it about this. We say it about politics. We say it about jobs. We say it about entertainment. If people would just stop for a minute and have real conversations
Absolutely.
about each other, about lives, you don't always got to agree. You don't have to agree, but it is an opening of the mind when someone says something to you, and you may not have even thought about it. You've opened up your mind and you could have done that for them too. So I think it's just really important that we take a deep breath and we stop judging everybody, as long as you're not hurting, harming, scamming, or hurting any animal, elderly, anybody. Don't hurt nobody. And you go for your life journey, then it's your path to take. And God bless you for doing it. I can't believe we actually
chatty patties. This some chatty patties, honey. We ran this hour
together. So I'm actually going to ask you now, what is your final thoughts and where can we find you, please?
My final thought is grace is for everybody, right? Let's give the young people some grace, because they're looking around and they're trying to figure out how to make this life the best life for them as individuals. Let's give the elders some grace, because they lived a long life. Let them say what's on their mind. Let them, as long as they're not hurting anyone, as long as they're not being careless and nasty for no reason, let people say what they want to say. But the most important thing is your own happiness. At the end of the day, you could work yourself into the ground and end up in the hospital. That job is going to do all of the federal work that they got to do with the family medical leave if you qualify, and they're going to fill that position, right? So we have to take life into our own hands. You don't want to work to just pay bills. You don't want to work to just struggle to try to make ends meet, but you do have genius in here. Everybody has a little stroke of genius, and it's just up to you to figure out what your stroke is, put it to best use, and you may not become a billionaire, but if that's not your goal, then you haven't failed. If you try again until you succeed, you'll figure out what it is that you need to do. I'm Marlo Layson. I create content online, mostly news, under my name, News and Documentaries, Marlo Layson. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm over Marlo. That's my first name, backward, forward, little underscore. I'm also dabbling in Blue Sky. So if you want to come over there and holler at your girl, I am Lo McLeod on Blue Sky.
Baby, I'm loving that blue sky. It's a nice breath of fresh air. But sooner or later, just like everything else, sometimes
it's gonna turn sideways and I'm gonna leave.
Right. But right now it feels really good to be there in a big fresh breath of air. So I am going to make sure that I do my homework today, Marlo, and I go and follow you because I am there as well. So, and I'm actually doing something different on that platform. So, hey, I'm just going to step on into that power over there. And listen, my final thoughts is this: if you can't help, don't harm. Other people's ways of life may not be for you, and other people's opinion of you is not always your reality. So you got to do what's best for you and your family and what your goals are in life. Don't wait too late. You know that you got to do. I think we all kind of know what we came here for at some point. Sometimes we don't come to the realization until we're 30, but when it hits you, it hits you. And that's when you must walk the path that you were put here to do. And you can find me everywhere, but I made it easy for you. You can hit all of my social media and lots of free stuff. I love free stuff, so I'll give free stuff away at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. Now, listen, we had a great conversation. We have had some wonderful conversations with you out there. We appreciate you as family. I always like to say thank you to those who are here every day. And even if you're just now joining us, welcome to our family. We have people who are here all the time. Big Mac, we have Deborah, we have Armando, who always come every single day. And we have some new faces that I have not seen before, and I'm grateful that you're here. Rhonda Woodhouse, we appreciate you because you know what? This whole past week was about gratitude, and we are grateful for you being a part of this family. Now, if you have a business, because this is the time now, you're going to start figuring out what you're going to do in your first quarter of next year, right? You know that you can advertise with us. It's really easy. We go live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. every day. And we have great topics. We have a built-in audience for you. And 9 times out of 10, they're looking for you because a lot of times people are looking for small business now. They're trying to get away from the big corporations. So you want to make sure that you advertise with us and reach your audience and be found. Just be found here. So how you do that is all you have to do is email us info@realvirtual.net. And then all you have to put in the subject line is at Fly Nubian ad. And we will get you the rates so that you can advertise with us. And finally, I don't want you to forget, because this is the week that we have launched Fly Nubian Money Club. And the first class is with little old me, little crazy me. We're going to have a good time this Saturday. So make sure that you sign up and bring a friend, because the best thing that you can do is share the wealth and the knowledge. Thank you, Marlo, for joining me today. I had a good one-on-one queen girlfriend time.
This is a good old girlfriend time, honey.
Good old girlfriend time.
With the friends on the outside. Thank y'all, friends, for being here with just 2 of us.
Right, I know, but we still kill it. You know why? We believe in what we do here, and we like that. So listen, you don't want to miss tomorrow's show. Make sure you lock us in, and we'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Until then, you be blessed and have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow. Peace.